Great to have you, Mr. Sorrell. You come to China 6 times a year, and China now is your 3rd largest market. What's your outlook on China's economy?
I've always been bullish, and we've always been bullish as an organization. And to be honest with you, I think our industry, because of its nature, we've not been exposed maybe to as much regulatory pressure as others. I remain a bull on it. I mean, there is considerable nervousness. You know, you turn on the Western media, it's almost as though the Western media don't want China to succeed. It's a little bit like Russia, actually, in some respects. And there is this sort of negativity. I think personally, there's a personal view, that the concern is overdone. I think the new government, the new Politburo is extremely strong. We've seen the anti-corruption drive. We're starting to see now reforms in taxation, approach to urbanization, real estate, and all those things. And then I think probably the most significant reform from our point of view would be reform of the state-owned enterprises.
How's the internet changing the way that advertising is done, especially in China, as we know that internet is evolving so much faster here in China than anywhere else? We
in the West, or many people in the West, believe, you know, China, the lack of respect to IP, intellectual property, and the Chinese copy everything. I think that's wrong. If it was so, it's certainly changing quite violently. And if you look at the growth of companies like Alibaba, or Tencent, or Baidu, and you look at, it's interesting because they are not focused, they're not a Google or an Amazon or a Twitter or a Facebook. They're a mixture of several of those models. So they're much more sort of, they have many more prongs or many more legs to their operation. And I think when you look at the rise of Xiaomi, for example, in the online mobile handset, and indeed now the equivalent of Apple television as well, which they launched, what you're starting to see is China be in the vanguard in technological development.
How are marketing campaigns in China differ from the ones in the West?
Chinese companies tend to be very focused on awareness and on distribution, which is, you know, two key parts of building a brand. But the key really, and they tend to have low price points, the key really is to try and build your brand, to build your reputation such that you or I as consumers have not only a tangible appreciation of the brand or the product or the service, but an emotional one. And Chinese companies, I think, have historically thought that was relatively unimportant. I think they're starting to understand that as they move up the price, because the price points at which they operate at tend to be low. So they're on awareness and distribution. The foreign companies tend to have higher price points. They tend to have products and services which are tailored for foreign markets, not for Chinese markets. So they have to understand the market more carefully. So foreign companies have to focus more on awareness and distribution and lower price points. And the local companies have to understand that loyalty, establishing that emotional connection, is very important, the psychological connection, and building their brands further up.